And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. This Lakerholics Spotlight. It is Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast, but also as well inside sports, fantasy football. Hopefully, you listen to the great advice Sean and Joe and Chris gave because it's playing out right now as we speak, right there. So go ahead and check out what we'll have to say next week on Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Plus, also as well, of course, we do everything that we can to help you out right here at the Lakers Fast Break. I know, where is Tom? He planned this time. He and Jamie planned this time. I do not know where he is. I'm going to probably see like 5 messages on my phone. I couldn't get in, Gerald. I couldn't get in. Funny. Jamie got in. Where is he? So I'm sending another link to him right now. So hopefully we can get him on ASAP. You can join Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet right there for you at Lakerholics.com. I will actually, over the course of the next few days, start sampling some of their work on the site here on the YouTube page. You'll get a little taste of it. So if you like what you see, you'll be able to hop over onto Lakerholics.com. There he is. All right. There's Laker Tom. Everybody's asking for you. Where's Tom? Where's Tom? Where's Laker Tom? But it is Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet. Please go ahead and check them out today at Lakerholics.com. Also, as well, Joe Soro. He takes care of you at, of course, Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. And then, of course, go ahead and support his company. And his company is called Simblades, Simblades with the Y.com. Magic Man has done a great job supporting Magic Mind over the past week. It's a great supplement, and hopefully everybody will give it a try. If you do, use the code Lakers20 to get 20% off your order. It has helped him a lot, so hopefully it could do the same thing for you. You see if you like it, and if you do, 15 or 30 bottle order today. Lakers20 to get 20% off indeed. Cool, bro. Good morning, my friend. I truly appreciate you sending me the thoughts of Mandalorian there, or Mandalore as they call it. So, yes, Cool Bro is speaking to me in Star Warsian. I'll call it now. I know it's Mandalore, Cool Bro, but I was just trying to get everybody to understand what the hell is he talking about in the chat. The best Lakers chat room that's out there. It's the Lakers Fast Break. Also support our good friends, Empire Jeff TV. Also as well, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Of course, also as well, the John McCalian channel and Lakers in 5 and the Larry Lakers dribbling chit chat all the way down in Australia. Go ahead and support them today, wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, wherever you get your YouTube channel. And then speaking of YouTube, please support us. We're now 1160 strong and counting. Go ahead, right there next to Magic Man, there's a little Joe. Click on the little Joe today. Or if you're on Facebook, because we had actually a couple shows do over 1,000 views on Facebook. So go ahead this week. So go ahead and follow us on Facebook and like us to go ahead and get the latest notifications. So when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Well, good morning, everyone. I know I sound a little bit low key. I'm tired. Christmas lights. I put up last sound Jamie Sweet. I was putting up Christmas lights all day long yesterday, and I feel every bit of 54 this morning. I'll see if I can gut it out for the next hour or so. It is, of course, the Lakerholics, but the Lakerholics spotlight today will be on Rui Hachimura, and not because he might be dating Selena Gomez, which is probably the reason why she's been showing up at some games recently.
Isn't
It
she
is,
a Spurs fan?
she's been showing up at Lakers games recently, and I'll just leave it at that. But that's just speculation at this point. It's nothing confirmed. But yeah, I saw
Mm-hmm.
that when I was typing in Rui Hashimura last night. By the way, Magic Man, I never found a picture of it. In fact, CNN did. I better not say CNN because Mickey C is going to get on my case. You guys said you weren't political. You guys have mentioned CNN or something like that. I'm like, whatever. But CNN did a story on why the shot last night was so incredible, and then used a picture from another shot on another
Yeah,
live debate. Yeah.
yeah. I,
So
I, and as soon as Gerald said that, and he probably knew I would do this, I went digging through
I
the
I
whole
looked I looked
internet.
at an entire hour, Sean. I looked on social media. Twitter sometimes has it. No, didn't have it. I have not seen it as of yet. Everyone. I would have
Yeah,
used it as the JPEG for last night's show, so I apologize for that. I know
yeah,
Joe. You better use that as the JPEG for the show. Yeah, and I'm like,
yeah.
hey, but
I,
there is
I
no
you
actual
You
photographs.
couldn't find you could just take a still off of the video off your screen.
It's low res when you do that. It really does not look good when that happens.
That was the best move all year, and
Yeah.
nobody
Plus,
has
it's
a
also
picture of it.
yeah. Plus it's also shot far away when he
Yeah,
does it, so it's not great. I guess I could, but
You're
it's
taking
it's
you're talking the 360 layup, right?
yeah, the 360 lab.
right.
It's just not going to give you a good resolution
No.
picture when you
Did
try
he
to.
really do 360? I was trying to calculate the degree.
He did. He
He
did.
did. He
He
did.
helicoptered twice.
He and then, yeah, he hit, and then he
It
did
was
a
a great. I
backflip
mean,
on
it
the
was a
floor.
great shot. I'm not complaining from that standpoint.
But yeah,
It's a great shot, even for a 23-year-old, much less a 39-year-old.
if
That's-
somebody ever does find a picture of it, and no, it's not the one with Alperin Sengun behind him because Alperin Sengun wasn't on the floor when he did it.
No,
Yeah,
no,
CNN's
exactly.
trying to trick you on that. So basically, yeah, if you find it, just let us know. We'll go ahead and I'll redo the JPEG for that.
Gerald, don't give the fake newsers. Don't try to give the fake newsers any more ammo, though. It's
You know, it's I'm sorry. Yeah, Fox would have a picture of Trump on there trying to do the 360. But anyways,
They
I
probably
will
have.
say,
They probably have pictures of him doing that. They got pictures of him as God and as Jesus, as everything in the world. Not to get
yeah,
too
oh boy, we're
all
already
right,
we're
moving
already
on.
off.
Mickey C's gonna complain. Mickey C's gonna complain that you guys are too political. You guys said you were political, and then you're too political, blah blah. And then sends it to me in the poorest grammar possible. Yes.
Well, that's the other thing. But let's
Yes,
let's
and then calls us the socially no longer accepted word for autistic when he does that. So
Oh
leave it at
yes,
that.
yes.
So yes, yeah. But thank you for watching and listening to the show. We truly appreciate
I
it.
can tell Darren V is not impressed by the layup.
Yes. Oh, LeBron did something. Oh, LeBron, when can I visit your in the museum? Good to have you here, Darren. Truly appreciate
Exactly.
it. I actually scheduled it at 4:00 this morning because I realized that Darren was going to get mad. I didn't schedule it last week, so wanted to go ahead and make sure that you were taken care of. But I will tell you, it is Lakerholics Spotlight. Our spotlight today is on Rui Hachimura, and the reason why are you asking about Rui Hachimura? Why is the spotlight on him? Because he's currently out. We shouldn't have been out. He was available. But the thing is, though, when he gets back on the court, what he's going to give you, and most importantly, in Tom's mind, which is why I have him, here, is he going to stay a Los Angeles Lakers? Because if he plays the way he's been playing on the brief time that he's been on the court so far this season, it's not too bad. But also, is why has there been a brief amount of time he's been on the court this season? Why is Darvin Ham not playing him more when he's shooting so well? We'll go ahead and talk about that on the show as well. But first man here is the guy who looks like he's on a lounger. It is, of course, Admiral Akbar himself, Jamie Sweet.
Man's
And
in
I
his
thought
home.
I
He
looked-
should be able to relax.
And I thought I looked
that's
so
right.
comfortable last night when I watched Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Dang,
You just get up, Jamie? Did you just
No,
get
I'm not for a while.
I did.
up?
I'm at
I
my.
did.
I'm at my. I'm at.
Gerald sounds like he just did.
I'm at.
That's why I set my alarm to like 10:50, and then there you go. Just get up. There you go. That's why I sent it to you guys the link at 4:00 in the morning, plus with Darren as well. But Jamie, let me ask you this: when it comes to Rui Hachimura, while I find a JPEG, not of him doing a 360, mind you, but just getting a JPEG for the show, when it comes to Rui Hachimura, what are your concerns about him? Because again, he's supposed to be available to play. He's supposed to be using a face mask after the nasal surgery. Will we see him on Tuesday against Phoenix?
I think we will. I think a couple of things. I think that the guys who were available to play and played last night were all basically cleared the day of. Maybe
he was available to play. He was cleared.
I know, but it was also a lot of guys' first time back, and so I think that without wanting to disrupt the improvement of Christie, who I think we can all agree has been upticking, the last couple of games, and so you don't want to derail that, right? if you don't want to derail that, you're bringing back Cam, who seems to me to be kind of an emotionally charged player. I haven't watched hours and hours of Cam Reddish prior to this season, but I think
Team
he's kind of
7-1 with him starting.
he's been through the NBA ringer, and so I think he like Christian Wood. I'm sure he thought there was going to be a bigger deal out there for him this season. Like Christian Wood, he probably feels like he's settling when it comes to the money he's making this season, and so all of those play into your mental game. It's a long grind. It's a long season. It's as much of a mental hurdle and challenge as anything else. So I think that because they were bringing Cam back, because they didn't want to disrupt Christie, and because they wanted to just get Vando on the floor, right? Like, just get him running up and down the court a few times. I think he played 12, 14 minutes total. Not big minutes for Cam, or I'm sorry, not big minutes for Vando. And didn't do much in those minutes. He just kind of looked like he was getting his feet wet again. Hadn't played months. Hadn't played, since
Training
the very
camp.
first. Yeah, he played the first preseason training camp game, looked good, and then has been out. So he's got a lot of rust to knock off of his game. So to add another guy on
With
top
a mask.
of that, with a mask who
Right.
hasn't practiced with anybody, I think that they want a simpler route. They got 2 days to get together now. Before Phoenix, before the next playing game, the quarterfinal playing game, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that they just wanted to take it easy on everybody. Rather than try to cram 12 players into the rotation with a meaningful role, they dialed it back. And for whatever reason, Rui was the odd man out. I think probably because of the mask more than anything. Yeah. He just had a successful surgery. He's had a couple of blows to the head already this season. I think that they're just taking their time with him, and I don't read any much more into that scenario than what I just said. But now, as to your question as to why aren't they playing him more when he does play, that's a valid one, because his plus minus is pretty decent when he's on the floor. It's not the playoff level Hachimura, but he is one of our most consistent 3-point shooters, and he's got a great mid-range game. The only thing I can think of is that they're still trying to figure out what lineup he works best in. Who does he play best besides? And that's been hard for the whole team to gauge. It's been hard, other than when LeBron's on the floor with AD. Our lineups tend to be a little bit up and down, and so in terms of their impact. So I think that they're really still just trying to figure out any kind of rotation whatsoever, and the injuries haven't helped that situation at all.
Once again, it is Lakers weekend. Happy Lakers weekend to you. It is the Lakerholics Spotlight. I want to go ahead and make sure you know that Lakerholics.com has a variety of things going on there, all things Lakers, though. Please go ahead and check out what they're doing today with Jamie Sweet's 5 Things articles, and also the #1 Lakers blogger that's out there. It is Lakers Tom. You can find him, of course, at Laker Tom on Twitter if you want your comedy in regards to the responses back to his tweet, or also as well his articles at Lakerholics.com. And Laker Tom, I think Jamie made some good points in regards to what's going on there, but I also see in the chat, and there's some really good points in regards to Rui, that when he comes back, he's going to be replacing somebody in the rotation because he is shooting very well for the season. He's actually statistically the Lakers' best shooter. He does give you some support, defense, a little bit of versatility. It looks like Christian Wood would probably be my first guess as the guy who gets a little bit of a backseat because his play has been mixed so far, to say the least, this season. Although, again, he's on a minimum contract, so it's really not that big of a deal, even though his signing was that big of a deal. Your thoughts on Rui Hachimura when he gets back into the lineup, face mask or not? What are you expecting from him, and who are you expecting to go ahead and maybe gets less time because of it?
Well, the perplexing thing about Rui is that the Lakers are so impressed with how he played when they got him, and especially how he played in the playoffs. Although he'd had a good record in the playoffs before, but he doesn't seem to be able to break through and get the minutes that Taurean Prince basically is getting, despite Prince ranking, almost dead last in the team in plus minus, and Now his shooting has improved, but for some reason it just seems like he's the favorite of Coach Ham. You know, he's this year's version of
Troy Brown.
Dennis Schroeder or you know, every year it seems like
Avery Bradley has been the best.
Yeah,
biggest
coach
name.
has a favorite who seems to get the minutes that other guys don't, and it's kind of funny because generally speaking, I felt that one of the strengths that the Lakers have had is that the general manager and the coach are working together as a team to bring in the players that they bring in, to pay them what they're paying them, and to make these decisions. And there's sort of a conflict there because it's like the front office values Rui more than maybe Darvin Ham does. It's kind of, when you compare the strengths of Ham or the strengths of Rui versus Christian Wood, who I do agree is the guy whose minutes are going to go down.
It should be Prince, in my opinion, but it's not. I already know that like you said, it's Avery Bradley.
Right. Yeah, but I think that what's interesting is that what they really liked Christian Wood for was scoring when AD was on the bench, a 3-level scorer. And when you look at it, Wood has some problems scoring inside, and he has some problems in traffic. And probably the best player on the team to give the ball to in an isolation post-up situation is Rui. His mid-range games is deadly, and he's hitting his threes, and he's not afraid to take it to the rim. He's not a great defender. His length gives him the ability to stay off of guys, but the one thing I always found inane is a guy jumping like he's trying to block a shot when he's halfway to the basket, 20 feet away from the jump shooter. I never understood that. It almost is that. It's almost like there's a reverse juju on that's going to make the shot go in if you do a dumb move like that. Rui is basically listed along with D'Lo as the guys who are going to get traded. And that's basically because of the numbers. Because if the Lakers are going to trade, at least for a player like Zach LaVine or somebody who's got a big salary, there's only 2 or 3 players that have enough salary cap weight to be able to match salaries. So, you know, in a way, you could say this team was put together to have a great deep roster of diverse talent. It was also put together to have a lot of trading chips and to be able to go a lot of different ways. You know, they can. Gabe Vincent is a perfect trading chip that can bring back a whole list of players that would be valuable teammates in the Lakers. You get D'Lo. D'Lo by himself is in there where you can trade for a lot of guys. You put 2 of those guys together and you can get something. The Lakers got 12-man rotation now. They really only can play 10 at a time. Of course, if you're the Lakers, you better probably figure that you're always going to have at least 2 people injured, so maybe you need a 12-man rotation. It wouldn't be, it's a pretty smart thing to do in many senses. So Rui's, I don't know what the story is with. I keep hearing Darvin Ham say that, we play better when we play big, but yet it's like he doesn't consider Rui to be 6'8", and I don't quite understand that. I think that, Rui is maybe a better answer for a second big to play along with AD than Christian Wood is at this point in time. I think defensively he can do the same thing. He's got the same vertical or horizontal. His footwork, his mobility is good enough that he can defend guys like Christian Wood or guys like Kevin Durant. So he can, he can stay in front of them, and he's got enough height and length that he can contest the shots. So I don't know. It's a Darvin Ham situation. So the big question too is, are they going to play? Is Vando going to move into the starting lineup? And is he going to replace Prince, or is he going to replace Reddish? What do you think Darvin's going to do? Anybody who wants to bet money on him taking Prince out of the starting lineup is pretty ballsy better. But if you look at Prince's numbers, and if you look at the eye test, the guy quits on half of the plays, man. He just does not fight hard to stay with his guy. He's always trailing. He's this year's version of just he definitely doesn't cut it as far as I'm concerned, and he should be the guy out of the rotation. So it'll be interesting to see. Bando's not ready to start now at this point in time. That's pretty obvious to see that. Rui probably is the logical person to start. If he's going to play it. I mean, there's a lot of talk that Prince was the placeholder for Vanderbilt. Well, and that's great if you believe that Danny was coming back soon, but he didn't come back soon, and we've lost games. We've lost several games because of poor starts with Prince in there. Not entirely because of Prince, but because of games are always multiple factors. But there's a point in time where you've got to decide what you're going to do, and Rui would seem to me the guy to put in there now. It's almost like they want Rui on the bench, like there was an idea that, hey, Rui's the guy to come off the bench. He could be our sixth man. And it's like every time there's a substitution or a rotation question in mind, no, you don't want to mess with the bench. Leave the bench be the bench.
I just think he plays better coming off the bench. I think he plays better against second teamers. I think we see.
Well, that's the big difference. Who do you play?
The longer look you has against starters, I think as we saw in the playoffs, the less in returns you're going to get. It was nice on that first game against Jokic, and obviously that comeback that the Lakers made there. But as Darren says, Ham does not like Rui, but afterwards they trade him, and LeBron needs someone to shoot 50% from three and save his behind. Ham will look at the bench and say where Rui is. Thank you so much again, Darren, for the super chat. And here today to go ahead and expound on that, he actually had some stats I put up there. It is, of course, the madman from Toronto. It is, of course, the guy who got out of Toronto traffic to go ahead and talk about what's going on with Rui Hachimura as we see Baby Yoda there as well. Cool, bro, for you, my friend. It is
exactly. Oh, Mandalorian down there. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, he's speaking in Mandalore right now. There you go. Yep, Baby Yoda. You got to say Grogu. I understand that. But it is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. And Sean, great to have you here, my friend. You were showing some stats in regards to Rui Hachimura. 42.6% right now on the season when he's in there. It's been obviously limited time due to injury, but when he's been in there, it's only, when you look at it, minutes per game, it's kind of surprising coming off the fact that I had said that if he shoots anywhere close to what he did in the playoffs, he would be a very valuable tool for the Lakers. So far, despite his shooting, it just hasn't seemed the case that he's been as valuable to Darvin Ham as I thought he would be if he shot well this season, Magic Man.
Yeah, it hasn't been hand in glove like it seemed like it was in that first round with Memphis and partially the second round with Golden State. Gerald. Really rough around the edges. I don't have much to add about Rui that Jamie and Tom didn't add. I will say this though, Tom's assessment of his defense is 100% sound. I will say though that Rui does have a low foul percentage, Gerald. So while he at times he does get beat, he doesn't take stupid fouls, and that's something we can't say about Taurean Prince. Like for a veteran.
Watch out. Oh, there's another foul.
Yeah, for a veteran who lacks a lot of fundamentals, he reaches a lot, and it's
Troy Brown reincarnated.
Yep.
It's an annoyance at this point with Taurean, and Tom's right. He looks like a chicken with his head cut off when they're in scramble mode, and it's almost as if it's like a silent Chicken Little. Like he's not. It happened again last night. He got lost on a switch. He was supposed to check Freddie VanVleet. Freddie went to the right-handed wing. Taurean lost him, and then he, instead of going back to the man that was open, Gerald, he kind of stood in the middle like Tom talks about and was like looking around basically. So I'm with the entire panel here. I think Taurean Prince belongs on the bench. Unfortunately, I also agree with the panel. I think it's going to be a slow ether to the bench. It's going to be very slow, but Ham's going to eventually put him there, Gerald. It's just not going to be in a timely fashion that any of us feel would help the Lakers. If I was putting out a starting five right now, I'd put D'Lo, Cam Reddish at the 2, Vando at the 3, LeBron at the 4, and AD at the 5. Joe, if Vando and Rui are ready to go, Vando should start, and I agree with you. Rui should come off the bench. That's the best way to handle this, and especially with Austin Reeves turning a corner now. I mean, Malik Monk might have some competition for sixth man of the year in about 6 to 8 weeks if Austin can forge ahead and try and get this bench mob to compete.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Great words indeed. Once again, it is Lakerholics Spotlight. The spotlight's on Rui Hachimura. So if that's the case, Jamie Sweet, it is possible, very possible, that the only really good shooter statistically right now on the team could be up for trade in the not too distant future, which I'll let Laker Tom speculate that because Rui has already been named in like 500 of Laker Tom's trade proposals so far this season.
500 is an exaggeration.
Not by much. If you check out at Laker Tom on Twitter or Lakerholics.com, you'll
Probably
see
a dozen trades.
not by much. Not by much. But when it comes to Rui Hachimura,
he's like at 50 for the year. He's around 50 for the year right now.
While we constantly say on the show, Gabe Vincent is not a valuable trade target that nobody really cares about because of the fact that he has a bad knee and he's on a 3-year contract. The reverse can be said with Rui because, yes, he's got a concussion that put him out. He got a nasal fracture, put him out. But so far, the rest of Rui has been staying upright. As far as on the court per se, let's go ahead and make sure that that's specifically said out there. Because you have to make sure yourself and clarify yourself specifically on this show. When it comes down to it, though, that's why
I like to podcast in portrait mode.
But oh my God! But when it comes to him, his $17 million. His $17 million a year contract for 3 years is a valuable tool that the Lakers could go ahead and trade, especially for someone averaging above 40% on the season.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll have a trade here. I don't expect to see anything happen before the calendar year turns over to 2024.
Oh no, I'm just talking when those trade talks start.
They started.
Well, they started with Tom, before the season started.
Tom about 2 weeks before the season started was like, so when December 15th rolls around, I'm like, yeah, it's not even November yet, so I'm not going
to. Some people think that thinking about the deficiencies the team has is some form of disloyalty to the existing players.
It's not so much that. It's that
and every single person in the Lakers front office has probably done every single one of those discussions themselves already.
Because Gabe Vincent, nobody will want because of his knee issues and the fact he's on the 3-year.
You're going to have to attach a picture.
If you can get him for the right price, he's a great deal.
He's not. He doesn't play. He's not playing. With no end in sight to the not playing status. So
Gabe Vincent's contract is worth.
In the last 5 years, he's made the 9th most 3-pointers and shot than anybody else in the league.
But you can't do that on a bum knee.
He averaged 38.7%. He averaged 38.7% on 7.5 threes a game.
That's great.
That alone, if you can get him for a first-round draft pick, that alone.
PRP. PRP with Gabe Vincent. That's why he's a useless contract right now in trade talks.
All that money is going to be normalized in 2 years. The TV contracts will make those contracts look like good deals.
Go ahead, Jamie.
When he's off your book, he's going to be off your books, and you start to wish you would never traded for him.
Damaged goods right now, Tom. Damaged goods.
What are you going to trade for? You waiting to trade for Joker or Duke or Luka? Good luck, man.
Gabe Vincent cannot be traded right now because nobody wants the contract for a guy with a bad knee.
Gabe Vincent has $10 million in salary. That's his value.
That's not value.
No, that's 3 years. He has a 3-year contract. He has a 3-year contract.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. If you're over the
You're
cap,
trading draft capital if you Lakers make a trade. It's draft capital.
it's not expiring. It just increases. It's at best you have to attach a pick to get rid of Gabe.
Are you as are you, oh,
Well,
sorry.
by that logic, you have to track. You should attach a pick to get rid of.
Are you his doctor? Do you know how bad his knee is?
No, but I bet the Lakers have a better idea of his situation and what he's willing to do, simply because he's a clutch client.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't think that the Lakers aren't right now negotiating in public to try to make sure that they aren't going to overpay for him, you can't go out there with what the Lakers have to trade and get a Luka Doncic or get a superstar.
You're the one,
without
Tom.
work.
First off, you're the only person mentioning those names. Nobody else has brought those up except you. I didn't mention.
No,
Luka.
but the point is that the Lakers by nature are going to go after.
You're literally devil's advocating.
Because he fills their single greatest need right now, which is they need somebody to just bury 3-point shots over and over and over.
From the bench when he's in street clothes?
We're talking about Rui, right?
I don't know who we're talking. I think we're talking about Gabe.
We were talking about Zach LaVine.
No, Gabe Vincent.
I'm not talking about Zach LaVine either. These are all. Nobody's mentioned any of these players in the last half hour.
But Gabe Vincent, I will just say this: Gabe Vincent's contract is not valuable when there's very much uncertainty.
Gabe Vincent's contract is very valuable because the Lakers need to put together salary matching money for trade.
If you're a GM on the thing, you always think in terms of Lakers. Thinks about the other. If you're a GM on the other team, let's get you in this. Let's say you're Toronto Raptors. You're saying Masai Ujiri.
It all comes down to whether or not they value
Joe's favorite GM. When it comes down to it,
doesn't matter, Gerald. It's filler. It's salary filler. It's nothing more than salary filler at this point in time.
It's not an expiring, Tom. Have a clue.
Doesn't matter. You have if somebody wants that pick. Let's say the Lakers make that pick unprotected. That's an unprotected pick when LeBron James and Anthony Davis are probably both going to be gone.
Exactly what I just said is that you're going to have to attach a pick to Gabe Vincent to move him in any single deal. You are not using. You're not attaching a pick to move him. He becomes filler because you are trading the pick for a player.
Well, let me get Sean in here real quick. Okay, Sean, you're Masai Ujiri. Okay, Rui Hachimura is healthy outside of the nose and whatnot. 3 years, good salary for a guy that's shooting 42.6%, his highest ever for a regular season. Obviously, someone 6'8", got some good size, et cetera, et cetera. Somebody who does not have knee issues, obviously a very valuable contract that you would want to move in a trade because teams want that. Gabe Vincent, on the other hand, I wouldn't perceive as being very valuable because
I didn't say Gabe Vincent was a better trade asset than Rui.
No, I didn't say. I'm not saying who's a big. I'm just telling you. What if you're Masai Ujiri? What are you looking for?
The two people that are going to trade are probably D'Lo and Rui.
Let's say for Pascal Siakam, for instance. Let's say because who's on expiring right now, very much a possibility with a mediocre Toronto team, or OG Anunoby. Those are the two names that are always bandied about. Your thoughts, my friend, on what you would be asking for from the Los Angeles Lakers?
Yeah, so for either one of those guys, you'd probably have to start with Austin Reeves. He would be the centerpiece of any deal that would be going back. With Siakam, I'd probably ask for Rui as well, even though he's on a rental. But I mean, you're the Los Angeles Lakers, and you called me up, right? So
yep.
This is what I'm asking. You give me those two players,
and those guys are on 3 years. Have 3 years left on their contract.
Yes. If you brought up Gabe Vincent, I would tell you I only have one point guard on my roster right now, and that's Dennis Schroeder. And I drafted Malachi Flynn-Gerald, who isn't working out at all, no matter how much I put him on the court. So I need a healthy point guard if we're going to do this. So that leaves only one other player, right?
But you don't know Gabe Vincent if it's healthy. You don't know the status.
You don't know. And, it's not as if I can look at his medical because he's on your team. I can't get those medicals until the trade is consummated and a physical takes place, right? That's why a lot of deals fall through, Gerald, because a guy isn't healthy for a team's liking, and so falls through, and then you're back to square one. And by the way, Gerald, that square one is even worse because now now everyone else knows that you have damaged goods.
Yeah. So and right now it's just very. If he comes back and he plays halfway decent, then obviously he becomes a bigger trade target for Lakers. But right now, there's an uncertainty with Gabe Vincent going forward. But
And you
Rui,
yeah, exactly, Gerald.
Rui is still very much a wanted individual out there because the fact he's on a 3-year, $17 million a year. It's a little high for a guy that plays 20 minutes a game, but still he's shooting 42.6%. So
But that's not his fault. Right? That's not his fault. It's not what we're ascribing a condition to Rui.
And I think that's what will be perceived by someone like Magic. If Magic
Right.
Man, yeah,
Right.
if Magic Man is Masai Ujiri, Joe's favorite GM, he's probably going to assume that, I think I could get him on the court more often, right, Jamie?
You would assume that any other team, like if you trade him to the Wizards, he's going to back to the Wizards, I should say. He's going to average 30 plus minutes a game. You trade him to almost any team, Memphis, Charlotte, Orlando, maybe not Orlando. They have a pretty good young core that they're featuring, but like there's at least half the teams in the association that would play him 10 more minutes a game than we are off the bat. And that would probably make Rui happier too, because he wouldn't be in this weird pigeonhole role that doesn't make much sense to really anybody. I don't think there's a Laker fan out there who actually watches the games who would play Prince over Hachimura to the degree that Darvin Ham has chosen to do so. And the reasons why, and I know we're sort of circling back to something that we've already gone over, but the reasons why are borderline non-existent, right? Like,
well, Prince has played a lot more minutes. Prince's minutes per game are greater than Rui's.
That's what I'm saying.
One argument that you could legitimately make it, maybe the coach knows more. I mean, maybe there's a problem with Rui as far as his ability to play 25, 30 minutes a game, because a lot of guys, you start getting diminishing returns because they just, I mean, it takes a certain amount of energy and a certain mentality. And sometimes coaches make decisions where I like this guy at these minutes because he's at full power in those minutes. He's giving us his full energy. And Rui is an energy guy. I mean, he can disappear on the court at times. So,
it's not like
I don't disagree with. I mean, I'm probably one of the biggest critics of Prince around, so I don't disagree at all that Rui should be playing more. But I do feel that there's probably a feeling by the Lakers that he's one of those guys who's maybe better off playing fewer minutes at a higher intensity.
Magic Man, do you concur on that, or?
For the most part, I would only caution, we're just kind of seeing everything put together other than Vincent at this point, and
yeah,
I mean
I agree with that.
Yeah. So
and there are 12 guys and only 10 guys minutes. So somebody, once all of these guys get healthy and Vincent gets back.
And there are different phases to the season, Gerald. We just gone through phase one, the Bear Grylls segment of the season, where
mention of preseason, really.
It's survive in advance. We're left on an island, and we have to go climb up trees and look for bird eggs to eat, and we were desperate. And now we're in phase two, and everybody's getting healthy, so to speak. So, I mean, the next 20 games are going to be completely a different version of what we saw from the previous 20.
We hope that it will be.
We hope it will be, Tom. At least I hope the defense is better, Gerald. We saw in the few minutes that Cam Reddish, Vando, and AD were on the floors. They were absolutely disruptors out there.
It was
all I could see was wavy, whackable, inflatable arm guy out there with all three of those guys.
There are a lot of long arms running around on that court.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching
the court's getting smaller,
flailing limbs all over the place. but I think that bodes well for us defensively, Gerald. And look, we're 28th in 3-point shooting. What the hell difference does it make if we put Cam Reddish in the starting lineup or if we have Reeves in there? I would prefer us to just have a nail out there right away, Gerald. Have a nail out there.
Well,
Run AD or the hammer. You
Because
have
Joe
Banjo
wants
and
to put
British.
Reeves.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Austin back in the starting lineup.
No,
right
You
now.
can't have Reeves and D'Lo together.
no, you can't. You can.
And Austin looks like he's fine. He's getting comfortable
Yeah.
again in that role. So I wouldn't ask him to take on another role again.
He's
Vincent-
not a volume. If you're
Vincent-
the only kind of guy you can put in the starting lineup who can't defend is either a point guard like Trae Young, who's a terrific 3-point shooter. Otherwise, you got to have. You can't have two of those guys on the court, man. Not starting. Reeves the league has basically told Reeves where he is, where he belongs right now. Other teams have targeted him mercilessly, and the Lakers are not going to win with him in the starting lineup, but they could win with him as the sixth man.
I don't know about that either. I mean, I get what you're saying. I think the issue here, one of the big issues, is that Vincent's played like 4 or 5 games.
Right.
That's your backup point guard. Your backup point, the one you signed for $11 million for 3 years.
Yep.
Year one.
And he's a better defender.
He's got one knee right now, and it doesn't look like the other one's coming back anytime soon.
Well, that means he's making progress. So he hasn't proved yet that he's going to be Kendrick Nunn the second
point guard. Doing it well, right? Reeves is doing a great job managing the second unit right now, better than expected, because of the fact that teams have been targeting him a little bit, and I think he's done a good job over the last couple of weeks, starting to adjust to that and finding his way into contact again and getting to the line. Maybe not the way that he was at the end of last season, where it was a little bit absurd,
right?
But regressing to a mean that makes sense for everybody, right? Him included. Like he's
I think he's gone past the regret. I think he regressed before. I think he's starting now to get more comfortable. What impressed me about the game last night was AD coming back after starting off so terrible, and Reeves coming back after playing so terrible at the start. Those were both really good signs because the consistency from the second and their play in the second quarter was just marvelous. That was one of the best quarters that I've seen us play. And in the periods when we had Vando and Reddish on the court at times, man, those two on the court with AD in the key, that can be a formula. Put two shooters with those 3 guys on the court, and you got something.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this shakes out, right? Like, we're going to get through the play-in tournament. They're going to be playing those games tomorrow. So I don't see a lot of minutes right off the bat.
Are we eliminated if we lose
I think they're going
to the Suns?
Yes.
So we could have a whole week off?
Go ahead, Sean. Sean can explain. Sean, go ahead. Come on as far as the NBA Cup is concerned. In-season tournament, quarterfinal matchup against Phoenix. Go ahead and explain it for everyone out there.
Sure. So now that we're in the quarters, it's the knockout stage. So it's like European football. Once you've qualified beyond your group, it's a knockout stage. Point differential has no meaningful significance anymore, Gerald, except for somehow the stats just end up disappearing in the championship game somehow.
Because it's an extra game. That's why.
Right.
But that's right.
They're
6th to 83rd game.
Yeah. So Tom's right. So if the Lakers were to fall December 5th, they wouldn't play again until December 12th against the Mavs.
Which isn't the worst thing.
Which isn't the worst thing to happen in the world, man. I mean,
I'm sure they all want $500,000, but from a team and
now here's what's interesting.
LeBron should just say, "Hey guys, here's $500,000 for each of you guys. We're taking the week off."
Go ahead, Magic Man.
Yeah, no, so now that the topic is up for conversation, Gerald, this is great because I mean, the Kings do not look good against the Pelicans. The Pelicans have beaten the brakes off them twice.
Who's looking at
here.
Pelicans in general?
Yeah. So with CJ McCollum back, Gerald, Kings are gone.
Yeah.
Kings are gone.
I
So
agree.
the Pelicans are going to win that game. They've got a huge. If I was the Kings and I saw the Pelicans in the playoffs, I'd be more worried than I was with the Warriors because they could just beat the brains out of you. I think we beat the Suns, so I think the Lakers will end up playing the Pelicans in the semifinals, Gerald. And I have the upstart Indiana Pacers defeating the Boston Celtics, Gerald.
Interesting.
And I like their moxie.
You're
I
killing
really
me,
do.
Sean. You're killing me.
And I think the Bucks defeat the Knicks. So the semis will be the Pacers versus the Bucks and the Lakers versus the Pelicans.
And just to spite me from what I said before it started, they will get to the finals and have LeBron and AD play an 83rd game, which,
That's right.
you know, the thing I said, I wouldn't have mind seeing them here in Vegas, but again, because they would be playing an extra game, I actually didn't want to see them playing here in Vegas, but they'll do it just to spite me. But
Hey,
I do
remember
want
LeBron could spend $6.5 million to get everybody off for a week.
Yeah, there you go.
13 times 500,000.
Well, he's gonna be taking one game off for $500,000. He might as well give it back to the other guys.
This is true indeed. Once again, it is Lakers weekend. It is the Magic Man Sean Grice, Jamie Sweet, aka Yami Swoot, Admiral Akbar. You can go ahead and find him and the number one Lakers blogger that's out there, Laker Tom, at Lakerholics.com. Please go ahead and stop by today, and I will be dropping excerpts this week on our channel so you could take a look. And if you like what you see, go ahead and stop by Lakerholics.com. But before we head on out, I promised Joshua Dietz, who is one of our loyal Facebook viewers, to go ahead and answer a question from him in regards to Anthony Davis. And I think I'll put a little spice onto it. He's thinking that, guys, do the Lakerholics, most likely Laker Tom, think that Anthony Davis will be traded at the end of the season? I'm going to add a little bit more onto it. Do I think that he would be traded before or after the end of the season? Laker Tom, I'll start with you on that. And Avon Traders, I got your super chat. Truly appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and make sure you get your quote in here as well. Go ahead, Tom.
I think that the last thing in the world that the Lakers are going to do is to trade Anthony Davis.
Yep.
Whether or not he is capable of being the face of the franchise, I think is something to be determined after LeBron James leaves, because we've never seen anybody play in their 39th year when they should be, handing the torch to their co-superstar. We've never seen anybody do what LeBron's doing, and frankly, I don't know how much longer. I think he can play 2 or 3 or 4 more years. It just depends whether he's motivated to do it. So Anthony Davis is the best defensive player in the league right now, and his value to the Lakers is really primarily at the offensive end. We can find other options, Zach LaVine, whoever. We can find other options to score the ball, and we're going to have to do that. And at times, Davis can be dominant just depending on who he's matched up against and who we surround him with. So the big issue with Anthony Davis right now is that he's a center. And it's very hard to be a dominant center when there's a couple of guys who can bully you. And so Davis is more of a finesse center rather than a power center, unless he has a dominant advantage. So he's not going to bully Joker. He's not going to bully certain guys in the league, but he still is going to be able to carry a team offensively some of the time, but not all of the time. Simply because of the nature of the position and his personality. He can disappear at times. He can become passive.
Go ahead, man.
Gerald, there is one line in explaining the in-season tournament that I think a lot of people should hone in on and remember when you're looking at the standings in March and April. The quarterfinal and semi games count towards the regular season.
Yep.
So if the Lakers defeat the Suns on Tuesday, Gerald, they're 3-0 and they've already won the season series. So if the Lakers and Suns were tied at the end of the year, the Lakers would own the advantage because they beat them in the quarterfinals.
Okay.
Or vice versa.
Okay, so Avon Traders in the super chat, and thank you so much for the super chat. Magic Man is saying if the Lakers lose to the Suns, they play the loser of the Kings and the Pelicans. They don't have off until the 12th. So
it's true.
I think
It
that's
was a
true
consolation game.
They would throw the league would throw another game.
Consolation game is how they make guys show up for the real game.
But also to give them that 80-second game. Is that correct, or am I?
No, that's not correct. Here, let me just,
because the Lakers will still have to play an 80-second game.
Yeah, there will be an 80-second game. Hold on,
which would normally be the semifinals.
Second,
for them if they won.
I think there's just one game. I don't think there's a consolation game.
No, there is no consolation games. There's two quarterfinal games. There's two semifinal games. So the semifinal game would be the winner of the Lakers.
Those are on the 7th, and on the 9th, there's one game.
And Pelicans. That's one semifinal. The second semifinal would be the winner from the Knicks and the Bucks and the Pacers and the Celtics. That's two semifinals.
But let me just say this. I apologize, Magic Man, but let me just say this, because I think what Avon Traders is trying to say is that, and thank you again for the super chat, truly appreciate it. I think what he's trying to say is the quarterfinals is the 81st game for will be counted, as far as the 81st game. The semifinals is 82nd game.
If you make the finals.
Yeah. So if the Lakers lose in the quarterfinals, they'll still have to be given an 80-second game, and the 80-second game would be against the loser of the Pelicans Kings. And I think that's very astute on Avant Traders, because the Lakers would still be one game short if they lost in the so they still would need an extra game. So it would be done against the loser of the
but
Kings
not as a consolation game. It's not.
It'd just be a random random game. I don't know
who's down the road.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know who would be hosting it or not. So
Avant Traders posted he's got a good post. Even the teams not in tournament are getting scheduled games against teams that don't make the tournament. So nobody's playing fewer games. Everybody's going.
Yeah, no, they're adding
games to be scheduled. Basically,
Gerald,
who's left over.
We're seeing that.
Sean, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, man. Joe needs to be milked. Hold on.
We're seeing that in the schedule. Games are being added. No one's trying to differentiate that. It's just think of this as a World Cup or a FIFA tournament. When you're in the knockout stage, there is no consolation game. You're done. So it's win or go home, and that's the correction that each team has to play 82 games. So this is for the NBA to figure out, and you see it.
We play a weaker game. We play a weaker team probably if we don't make the.
It's the same thing in what the NFL does with their 17th game now, Gerald. You just it's put in a hat and you randomly play one team.
But they'll be given, if they lose on Tuesday, they'll still be given an extra game to be determined at a later time. So that's.
I hate to miss a seeding because of one game that we ended up losing a tougher game because we played in an in-season tournament. And we've ended up,
I'm not in love with this in-season tournament thing. I'm just going to go on the record again because, it allows for an 83rd game. And if somebody gets hurt or injured in that 83rd game, a lot of egg is going to be on the NBA's face. And I'll just leave it at that. It's a spectacle. It's a TV event. And so I'll just leave it. I don't like it. I'm sorry. I don't like the Technicolor courts. I don't like
Grinch.
It's people.
Somebody.
There's only
a certain amount of an extra draft pick to the team that wins the tournament.
It has increased ratings, so you know what?
Joe, somebody needs to go to Gerald's house and milk him. He needs a good milking.
What the hell did you just say?
Joe's talking. Joe brought it up. Don't blame me. Joe brought it up.
Oh my god, it's scaring me. But
Joe,
again, it's
more
money for the league. More money for the league. That's all they care about.
More money for everybody.
That's all they care about.
So while Laker Tom is getting something, maybe more Coke, we'll go ahead and finish up here because it's going to be wrapping up here on the Lakers weekend. Let me go ahead and wrap it up with Jamie Sweet and Magic Man. But Jamie Sweet, Any last thoughts on Rui Hachimura and his place going forward? I still think his name come February is going to be all over the trade talks.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if we'll have him by the end of the season. I'm not sure, I said. I'm not sure.
I
He
just
and
think
D'Lo are gone.
I don't know about that. I think that anybody making less than 20 million in the league should just expect to have their names pop up in trade talks.
I agree. Yeah.
That's just the nature of your contract. It's not a knock
Even
on you.
Austin Reeves?
It's not.
Yeah.
Well, evidently he's untouchable, but I don't know if I agree with that.
He's not untouchable.
Well, yeah.
He could play himself into being untouchable, but he could play himself into being very touchable.
He's done both
I don't
this
know.
season.
Yeah, he's a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde case this season. All I'm saying is this: is that it's not uncommon for you need those kind of contracts to put together for big names. The Lakers are a big name destination, so if you play for the Lakers and you sign a contract for between 10 and 20 million, guess what? Your name will now be popping up in trade discussions for the
Make
rest
sure
of
you
your.
can trade that house in when you have to move.
So keep the house. It's going to go up in value. Don't worry about it. There's no better investment than LA real estate. So just don't worry about it. You're good. You'll have to keep it in the family. Give it to your cousin. Don't let him turn it into a party house. Like a skater or something. My point is this: look, it's this happens every year. These guys are used to it, and if you're not used to it, you're probably affected by trade rumors, and you're not have a long career in the NBA anyhow. Because if you're not one of the 10 best players in the league, your name is going to pop up in trade conversations. That means you're one of the 100 best players in the league, and you should be proud.
Somebody wants you.
That's right. You're desirable, and so that's a positive. Take that to the bank, and don't worry about what you read in the trades and the blogs, and it doesn't matter. It's just people opinionating like us. And while we may be wise and sage and full of great inherent knowledge, we're not secret cabal bearers of information. We don't have any backdoor secrets or back alley sources. We don't have the shoe shine guy from the Naked Gun TV from Police Scott.
That guy was awesome.
Oh, Johnny was amazing. Oh man, I wish I knew a Johnny. I'd pay Johnny an extra 20 for some information every week.
The Dodgers are yeah, I remember that. So funny indeed.
Oh, it's
Matt,
a great
man, what are your thoughts
bit.
though on what's going on with Rui Hachimura? I think again, I'm not in love with the fact that he's playing less minutes on a regular basis when he's in there to Taurean Prince. It just seems that
it's worth mentioning. He's had 2 serious head injuries this season.
It is.
That he's on minutes low. It's because he hasn't ramped up his conditioning yet. Like he's not at the same place that Prince is. Prince has played in every game because he's available.
But even before this was before he suffered the injuries, he was still getting a little bit shorted out on minutes. Yeah, sorry. So Magic Man, I ask you this, my friend. His name is obviously going to be brought in discussions. Like actually Jamie said, anybody under 20 million's name is going to be constantly brought up in Laker Tom's discussions. So when it comes to it, because Rui is become that threat, what are your thoughts on Rui going forward? Would you like to have him stay, or do you think he's actually going to be ending up leaving at some point in time before the end of the season?
Gerald, Rui is a specialty role player, and you're going to have to find somebody like that eventually. So now that you have him in the fold, why don't you try and keep on developing him the way you were last year and push this rock down that hill just a little bit more before it picks up some momentum, and then it starts rolling. I would hate to think, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday, I would hate to think that there is some kind of bias that Ham has towards
anti-Japanese
playing style. Not anti-Japanese, Tom. Bias towards his playing style.
I've seen that bias work before.
Oh my God.
Tom, what are your thoughts before we head on out? And then what are you also working on a article before we head on out, my friend?
Oh man.
Tom?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah.
I just published an article on trading for Zach LaVine that I basically think the Lakers should trade for Zach LaVine. I said there's a limit on it. I said I'm not going to give up more than 2 rotation players and 1 draft pick. But I think if you can make a trade for that you make that deal. And I think that the main crust of it is, as I said before, is that you want an elite 3-point shooter, and he's one of the steadiest 3-point shooters. He hasn't been below 37.5% or 7 attempts in 5 years. So if you can get a 28-year-old guy like that for 1 pick and 2 rotation players, I think that's a win. If you can't do that, then you move on.
All right. Well, see, why is Zach LaVine so fascinating to you? That's
because he does have the athleticism to be a second superstar with Anthony Davis, and the clock is running on LeBron James being able to make that team. And we could still have an 11-man rotation first off, I don't think the Bulls would take this deal. I think they'll keep LaVine if they can't get a deal better than what the Lakers are offering. But I'm not willing to give them multiple pick swaps. I'm not willing to include Reeves. I might throw in Christie and I might throw in a couple of seconds, but I'm not going to give up that. But that's a chance to get a potential superstar, 28 years old, who already can fill the role just even as a 3-point shooter, if he can stay healthy. Now it's a gamble, but you're paying Buddy Hield money for a guy who shoots like Hield, and you hope that he can do other things beyond that. And the Lakers are going to be very smart about using their money. They're not going to throw it away. They're not convinced 100% that. I mean, if I had my choice of the deals that I would do, I would go out and get Buddy Hield, because I think he'll have just as much impact as Zach would. I think it's a 3-point shooting is really our Achilles heel.
So you don't mind his
Buddy, and then I think that Miles Turner is the perfect solution for the defensive side of the thing. You put Turner and AD out there along with Bando and Reddish, and put LeBron at center, put LeBron at point guard on offense, and let him play power forward on defense. You'd have an unstoppable team, and that's not a third. It doesn't answer the third superstar thing. If you have a chance at a 28-year-old kid who, if he can stay healthy, could be a third superstar, and he will be much better on the Lakers than he was on the Bulls. And AD didn't bring him a championship playing by himself either. So all of these excuses that Zach's not a winning player, that he can't adjust. I think that they know him. I think LeBron and AD have talked with him, and I think that the Lakers in the end will make a try for him. I don't think they're going to give up more than what I just offered, but I think that they will go for him, because if you can get a star like that on a deal that is really a good deal, that's the gamble that you have to take, because this is a superstar league. And the Lakers definitely need somebody with that kind of athleticism who can really be a threat up front, who can get you 30 every night, and they average 25 a game for the whole season. We don't have that. That's what will take the pressure off of LeBron, that and a guy being a guy that can shoot a 3. Who would be better? Kyrie. Kyrie's definitely the offensive power that he would have in a 3-point shooting, and he's a point guard. And yeah, I'm disgusted with everything he's done to ruin teams in the past, but he's a player that, again, the Lakers are not going to be able to get guys that have the bona fides that are perfect. So you're going to have to gamble. You're going to have to gamble that they can make him play. They can take just the same way they can turn around Malik Monk or turn around Cam Reddish, that they can turn around Zach LaVine or turn around a Trae Young and make them become a winning team, make them become a winning player. Because the guys that we're going to be able to get to replace LeBron James and Anthony Davis aren't going to be the same level as LeBron James and Anthony Davis, because we don't have the draft capital. And as long as we want to stay on top, we're not going to be able to accumulate enough of it to be able to make those kinds of deals.
That's a $147 million gamble right there in Lakers.
I'm not afraid of that money, because that money, by the time he gets paid those last 2 years of that contract, that money is going to be average money.
That's a pretty high average.
Gerald,
everybody's getting on it. Look at where the Lakers are right now. We
I'll get you a sec, man.
we do not have. But wait a minute. We do not have We're below both thresholds. We can even do sign and trades. We can accept sign and trade players. We have set, this is the mark where we're going to stay. We're not going to be a team that goes over either one of those tax thresholds. And we can do that with 3 superstars if we can get a deal, if we can get a bargain deal. We can't do it by giving up 3 swaps and a pick and giving up all of our depth in this so that we end up with an 8-man rotation. We're not going to be able to succeed that way. So we're going to have to make a gamble, and you just have to make a smart gamble. Get a guy who's young. Get a guy whose skill set and position fit you. Get a guy who can shoot, for God's sakes. Get a guy who is not going to blow layups. Get a guy who actually can make rebounds. Get somebody who actually LeBron and AD know and can play with and have known. You have to make intelligent, smart moves like that, and the time to make them is when somebody, the Bulls have got a terrible problem now. They got a guy on a contract, and they need to get rid of him before they can even do anything on their entire game plan on how they're going to rebuild the team. That's their first move that they got to do. What are we going to do to get rid of this guy? Nobody else wants him because they're not willing to take the risk on it. But the Lakers can, because the Lakers need a superstar. They need somebody to replace LeBron James. This could be his last season in purple and gold. It really could be. And if he were to go off and not, he's got a contract. He's got another year in there.
So, Gerald, they've just released the audio release of Ime Udoka and LeBron James's exchange, and it turns out that LeBron is a bit of a whiner, Gerald. That's what it turns out to be. And he misinterpreted what Ime Udoka was saying.
Called him soft?
Stop. He said, stop bitching. LeBron thought he was calling him an actual bitch. And he walked up to him, and Ime Udoka told him, yeah, I can say stop bitching. You're a soft little boy. Soft little boy.
Oh, I love Ime Udoka. What a brave man.
So real quick, because I got to head on out, but Magic Man, Zach LaVine right now, 29-year-old player, bordering on 30, very bad defense, iffy knees, because he has knee issues in the past. Also, as well, a guy who's owed $147 million of contract. Yes or no? Do you make a play on him?
No.
Jamie?
I have Australian player bias. I don't believe in Australian basketball players, except Joe Ingles.
Okay. Laker Tom,
joke.
Depends on the deal. Depends on the terms of the trade.
You
have to give up for them. There's a deal to be made that the Lakers would do.
I would be aggressive in acquiring DeMar DeRozan before I was aggressive in acquiring Zach LaVine.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's exactly what we need, Jamie. Another guy who can't shoot threes and won't shoot threes.
Well, he won't shoot threes,
but he doesn't disappoint. But he doesn't.
Laker Tom,
hold on. Everything about
Laker Tom, hold on. He won't shoot threes, but for the first time in his career, he can shoot threes because he's actually
0.2 of them a game. 0.2 a game.
Yeah, but he's actually shooting
0.2 a game.
Just clarifying.
You know what they do when he stands behind the 3-point line?
I just didn't.
You back up. You back up.
He won't shoot the three. He can shoot the three because he's shooting well, but he will not shoot the three. I agree with you. He's not shooting threes. He doesn't like it there, even though he's finally.
That's the worst possible way to build a team around LeBron James and Anthony Davis. As a guy who has to have the exact same position on the court as LeBron and AD in order to score.
They're not building a team. They are improving the team year by year in small incremental pieces. That's what they've been doing since they acquired LeBron. Mm-hmm. It's not building a team. The team is built. The team is LeBron. You're done.
The team is a transition team. They still have to find a replacement. They still have to find another superstar.
I agree completely. They're not acting like
and anybody dumb enough to go out and spend money on another guy who can't shoot in order to try to help the team. That's total foolishness.
Got a pretty high efficiency rate, actually, but more efficient than Torian Prince.
he does not like to shoot the three, even though he is shooting it for the first time in his career really well.
We're not a team that's built to shoot threes anyway, so what does it matter?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, more. Yeah, okay, Byron.
What does it matter?
And on that note,
Byron
Magic
Scott
Man,
up there in the right hand corner for anybody.
let's get out of here, man.
After the face transplant.
For more of this great conversation and this love fest between Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet, please go ahead and head on over to Lakerholics.com. What more do you need? You love it when we're arguing or when we're mad. For more of this conversation, in fact, actually, Jamie Sweet should do a biography of DeMar DeRozan right on Laker Tom's splash page on Lakerholics.com, right there for you.
Gerald, I would be very concerned about acquiring a player who's had significant knee injuries between the ages of 21 and 28, and they're approaching 30 years old. Because we see what's going on with that team across the hall from us, those sad little peons acquiring 4 ISO players, all 4 over the age of 30, and all 4 are bringing them down.
And he's a notable bad defender, and I don't want Tom to go get mad.
Well, I would say this: if Levine had Dame's had somewhat of an injury history the past couple of seasons, but I would be more leaning towards Tom's idea about Levine if he didn't have that kind of history, even with the bad defense, because you're trading that for a significant upgrade in your shooting, which is what the Bucks kind of did themselves, Gerald. But we see they're in a little bit of a mess on their own because they absolutely have no perimeter defense.
They can't defend a rock.
No.
Yeah, Bloodhound, he is shooting almost 38% this season. DeRozan is, but yeah, he only takes 1 or 2.
And
he does not like to shoot.
And shout out to Joe, because Joe made the great point about why Caruso will likely get 2 first-round picks for the Bulls. And Gerald. Gerald had commented that Marcus Smart is shooting less than 30% from 3.
29.5.
And in order to acquire him, Memphis had to give up 2 first-round picks.
I would also be more aggressive in trying to acquire Marcus Smart than I would be in trying to acquire Zach LaVine.
I would as well. I would zone in on that situation right now very heavily.
Exploitation. You are not going to overpay. They're going to implode this season. Somebody should just pick the debris and put it into their roster.
And you could get Marcus Smart on the cheap, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's better fits for the Lakers than Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine's the biggest name, and that's unimportant to me. It's you might as well tell me that like they were on a TMZ profile. I'll go we.
The Lakers.
I don't care.
Why do I feel like going here?
Lakers need shooting. They need shooting. They need
good players. Zach LaVine is an average player with a big name.
Why do I feel like getting a coffee cup and just standing over a work office right now? Just when you said that with TMZ. But anyways, anything indeed. It is, of course, Lakerholics.com. Listen to this kind of banter each and every day, especially when DeMar DeRozan's name gets mentioned, I guess. Go Trojans. Fight on. At Lakerholics.com. Although, we're 5-3 right now. It's a basketball team, but these are kids.
Laker Tom's had to slip that in there, didn't you, Joe?
Yeah, well, UCLA is doing very well. They're doing much better than the Trojans.
Tom,
Trojans are young. That's a really young team.
Tom, how do you feel about? Are you surprised at Jaquez's ascension?
No, I wanted the Lakers to take him.
I've
always thought he was a very heady player. He's a very heady player.
I just wanted the Lakers to take a good basketball player.
Yeah,
I know.
No,
that's going to come back to bite us for years.
Yeah. No, Jaquez has a knack, man. He's one of those guys who just has something special. The game slows down for him at critical moments, and he's able to make the right play. Yeah. And a lot of that is 4 years of college. I mean, when you look at these kids who come out after 1 year, and then you look at guys like Jaquez, and it's interesting. I mean, you're just looking at the Lakers draft picks versus their two-way players. their two-way choices were much more impressive than their draft picks.
I know. I don't know what
And
happened.
one reason they were is because they're guys that are 3 years older and have had 3 years of college experience on top of that. And you look at those guys. I look at how Hodge plays and look at how Castleton plays, and you compare that with Lewis and Hood-Schifino.
And by the way, Castleton has played really well for South Bay. He looked a lot more comfortable on the court, even though it was against OKC. Garbage
just
time.
don't put him out there. Don't feed him out there to Alper and Shengun as your first time out of the court.
No.
Sengun is good, man. I mean,
we saw
guy's got game.
Yeah.
But
Once again,
not last night.
Imagine Castleton and Hodge 3 years from now.
Okay.
I mean, they'd be steady. They'd be solid.
They'd be steady players. I mean,
probably for another team though. The way the Lakers treat their rotation players.
Well,
once again,
they'll either have to grow. They'll either have to take a leap like Reeves did, or they'll be replaced.
Take a look at Mo Wagner. Take a look at Ivica Zubac.
Yeah, we're not going to
look at
spend the
Kyle
time to
Kuzma.
do that. They got to be faster.
We don't have time.
No,
we don't have time to develop players.
To be fair to Mo, he only really started flourishing when Jamal Mosley was the head coach. Joe.
There you go.
It's true.
That's another discussion altogether, Magic Man.
Well, when his brother came along,
that's another hour I don't have. That's another hour and a half I don't have right now.
Yeah, we could talk about how good Franz is for the next half hour.
Yeah, that's not. Let's not going to
bring back Mike Muscala.
Yeah. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Go ahead and check out what's going on with Lakerholics.com. Jamie Sweet and Laker Tom are there for you. They're discussing DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, trade talks, a whole bunch more. Go ahead and check out the conversation today and each and every day at Lakerholics.com. Magic Man, truly great to have you here, my friend. Truly appreciate the time that you took to go ahead and try Magic Mind. Last time, I'm going to go ahead and pitch this magicmind.com, unless they pay us more or pay Magic Man more in this case. Magicmind.com. Please go ahead and have him support him with Lakers 20% off your orders today. If you think it's a supplement we're taking.
Laker Fast Break swag. Sit up a little bit. Let's see the sweatshirt.
There you go. Absolutely. He's rocking it right there. And you can go ahead on there as far as that's concerned at the Lakers Fast Break store. It's in the description right below. Go ahead and click on the link and go ahead and do some Christmas shopping right there for you at the Lakers Fast Break store. Or, again, Lakers 20 for 20% off at magicmind.com. Guys, it's been great having you on. Looking forward to a great game on Tuesday. We'll be back to preview it on Monday, including the NBA observations. And so
do we win or lose? Do we win or lose real quick?
Well, we win. We win. We seem to love this NBA Cup. They're going to do it just to spite me, Laker Tom. I said I didn't want LeBron to play an 83rd game, and they're going to do just that most likely. So
he wants his name on that first cup.
Yeah, I guess so. All right.
Wait, Joe, give me a wee.
Yay. Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Go ahead and check out the guys at Lakerholics.com.
Gerald's wee was like Adrian Brody's whoopee.
Whoopee.
It was, and there was
an all-star whoopee.
And there was much rejoicing. Yay.
Yes. Seeing my 38-year-old star player playing an extra game just warms my heart.
Yep. Go 49ers.
Go Lakers. Go Lakers indeed. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Lakerholics.com. Go ahead and check it out indeed. Magic Man Sean Grice, Jamie Sweet, a.k.a. Yami Sweet, a.k.a. Admiral Akbar, and Laker Tom, the #1 Lakers blogger that's out there. Please go and check them out. And if you want some great comedy, go to @LakerTom on Twitter today. I just love the responses. They just absolutely loathe you, Laker Tom, every time you put a trade. Absolutely loathe.
Teams that are getting fleeced in the trades. That's why.
Right.
You always see things through those purple and gold shaded glasses, indeed.
No, I don't take trades that way. I always leave them with something.
Yeah, something.
Hey, Gerald, we're talking about Tom's gravitas here. He's got some gravitas on Twitter with his trade ideas, all right?
Yes, that's true indeed. He put, I got to give Tom credit for putting himself out there each and every time because he knows exactly what he's going to get in response.
Yes, he does. And he doesn't care.
Yeah, I think I've only blocked one person in the entire Twitter existence.
There you go.
There you
that was
go.
Probably Sean or Joe or
And it wasn't Jamie or Sean.
Okay.
I'm
all
not
right.
on Twitter. I'm
I
not
just
on
guessed.
It was
Okay.
Gerald. No, I
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It's Lakerholics.com. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm losing my voice, but I'm going to tell you right now, please go ahead and check us out tomorrow for some NBA observations. Later this week, I promise we're going to do a Lakers Fast Break as far as a History 101. I promised if we can get L Rob in here, he said he wanted to do a Lakers History 101 on Shaq, so we'll go ahead and do just that as well. Plus, of course, our live coverage, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break on Tuesday night against the Suns. Go ahead and join us then. There's more great coverage this week on Lakers Fast Break. We'll appreciate you joining us. Check out Lakerholics.com. And of course, check us always out here. Big shout out to everybody that was putting up the Avant and Darren for the super chats, and truly appreciate everyone out there in the chat room, the best Lakers chat room that can be found right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Happy Lakers weekend, everyone. Stay safe.